Thank you very much, Minister Hermann, for these very interesting opening remarks. The Bavarian government and the Office of the State of Bavaria in Israel, represented by Steven Schmerz, were great supporters of this summit. It was planned that Bavaria finances young journalists their journey to Israel to participate on the summit. Unfortunately, it was not possible in Corona times, but let's hope for next year. Tel Aviv definitely is always worth a trip. Okay, you maybe think of the beaches and the nightlife, but it's also very popular for the startups. What is the secret of Tel Aviv? Why is it so special for startups? This we're gonna ask now Michal Michaeli, Head of International Economic Development at Tel Aviv Global. Please, Michal.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. And for having this conference in Tel Aviv. It's actually a natural fit, considering Tel Aviv's status as the startup city of the startup nation, but also the amount of media attention that we get here constantly. When speaking about Tel Aviv as the leading hub of startup nation, we often speak about the cyber, the AI, the military and defense background, but also Tel Aviv is very strong in the media arena. Like every sector, the traditional media has also undergone a huge transformation in recent years. The technology had to be part of it and disrupted the media, both to improve the accessibility of information and, unfortunately, also to spread fake news and hate speech. Importantly, startup has a key role to play in both ensuring that the media reaches new audience and also to combat this fake news and hate speech. Tel Aviv, your host, is known for its outstanding startup ecosystem. It's also home to many innovative startups in the field of media. Just to mention few, Eco, OpenWave, and our partner in Tel Aviv municipality, Zen City. Recently, during the pandemic, Zen City helped us with vulnerable information and allowed us to stay in touch with the sentiment of our residents, getting all the right and relevant data all the time back and forth. These startups join over 2,000 startups that we have here in the city operating today, making Tel Aviv home to more startups per capita than any location worldwide. Tel Aviv is also home for more than 110 multinational companies who have decided to establish a permanent R&D presence in the city, often after requiring a local startup. I can just mention a few names of the most known, like Google and Facebook and Amazon, but also MasterCard, who just recently joined by purchasing a Tel Avivian startup. Even during this challenging year, 5 new multinational companies established operation in Tel Aviv. While Tel Aviv is known as a startup city, we are also very proud of over 100 companies, scale-up companies, that grew here from startup to growth companies, employing now hundreds of people with revenues of over 100 million each, and are very strongly rooted in the city's texture. Some are very well known, like Wix, Lemonade, and Monday.com, who listed on Nasdaq just a couple of months ago, exceeding everyone's expectations. Spot, for example, was just bought by NetApp for $140 million, just late June. Now, being an entrepreneur myself before joining the municipality and an investor, I gained a first-hand experience of the startup scene and its connection to the city, which I'd like to share with you now. And I'm sure you know, for young innovators, Tel Aviv often offers a very attractive, non-stop lifestyle. Work hard, play hard, all that. The whole informal vibe that Israelis have all around. But there's much more here beyond that and beyond lifestyle that really keep that ecosystem thriving and actually enforce the connection between the ecosystem and the municipality. While Tel Aviv is not the only global city known for its innovation and entrepreneurs, in Tel Aviv they have a different and unique mindset. Every entrepreneur here knows that from the very first minute, the local market is very small, it's actually insufficient. So they're already operating, looking globally, and targeting the international market from the get-go. Even if you fail, the culture here really enables and even lately glorifies the fact that you can fail and fail again, but the minute that you get up and try again, it's appreciated and supported. And without the physical resources that many other countries have, we have to turn to ourselves and rely on our abilities and skills. Israel has made limited attempts of mass manufacturing in the past. For example, including the launch of a modest but unsuccessful car manufacturing industry back in the 60s or 50s. While that didn't really succeed, Tel Aviv has emerged as a leader in automotive technologies. There's so many companies here in the leading, really cutting edge technologies that it's become one of the most talked about sectors in the city and in the industry. For example, the Israeli shared transportation startup VIA launched its operation in New York and London even before they started here in Tel Aviv, and they succeeded and they're now running more globally. Tel Aviv doesn't have large factories as most new and modern cities, but that doesn't really stop many companies to form a very strong Industry 4.0 sector that is thriving as well. City, like most big cities in the world, is a melting pot of culture and insight, contributing different approaches to innovation. And the city, Tel Aviv, is very, very young. So around 35% of its population is under the age of 30. And the National Service teaches potential entrepreneurs how to build network, how to solve problems and take responsibility, all important skills when launching and leading a startup. Also, another thing that is very unique to Tel Aviv and to Israel in general is the fact that veteran entrepreneurs, especially the successful ones, assist the young ones, both as investors, because many of the successful entrepreneur invest in the other startups, but also as mentors and consultants, and they are really here as part of the ecosystem, contributing all the time. The municipality is actually helping the ecosystem by cultivating and supporting very young startups from the get-go. We're doing it through different or webinars and conferences when it's possible, of course. Just next week, we are hosting a 24 hours boot camp that is already drawn over 100 new startups that are aiming to form there. And we also deployed a chain of municipality entrepreneurial centers, giving those who are seeking entrepreneurial knowledge and networking the ability to start around us, actually, around their urban needs. Earlier this week, we launched a soft lending services platform for multinational corporations and international entrepreneurs. We want to introduce them to the local ecosystem, help them to build their networks, and get them all the information they need, starting from office space, pricing, guidance on taxation, benefits, grants, visas, and immigration, and all they need just to come here and open their activity here. All this does not mean that the ecosystem hasn't been impacted by the coronavirus, like all of the world, actually. But we are very positive that we can take this advantage for new opportunities that will emerge from this crisis. And since having the skills and the ecosystem and the attention together, we know the foundation is promising bright future. We would love to have you and to host you in person as soon as it's possible here in Tel Aviv. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.